Okay, all good. So, finally, and I know me and Jordi have spoke about this for a while, just having chats and stuff, and I've chatted with other people as well, but we're finally doing some form of podcast about games, funnily enough, would you believe? Um, so, we're going for a Red, Green and Blue podcast where we'll be talking about the entire industry. So we've got our respective chaps here. Myself will mostly be talking about Nintendo. Anyone who knows me knows that that's kind of my thing. And then we've got Jordan Campbell here, who is my Xbox guy, and has been for the longest time. We'll go over some bits. We met on Xbox long, long ago. Well, we played Xbox long ago. And then I've got Matthew Chapman here, who'll be talking about Sony. And although not attending E3 this year, just going to talk about the current landscape, bits and pieces, and we'll go from there. But yeah, Jordy, do you want to say a bit about yourself in terms of obviously massive, massive Xbox fan? What did that journey look like in terms of you getting into it, and where are you now with that?
Yeah, so I'm basically I started with going dismissing retro. I started off with the PlayStation 2 really, so I was more of a PlayStation guy, and then when the Xbox 360 came out, I was just sort of besotted with that console.
Mm.
I think that was one of the best eras of gaming, still is, and ever since then I've just grown and grown with Xbox. Pretty poor last generation, but this next generation is sort of set up nicely. Over the last few years, I'm running Xbox Fans Official on Instagram now, and sort of built that up quite big. A games writer for at the moment Rapid Review UK, so I write reviews for Xbox games as well, and some few selected Switch titles as well. I've started doing as well.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah,
All good, all good. Matt, yourself, obviously the youngest of the group, obviously not super young, but yeah, talk to us about kind of I guess your gaming journey, where that started, and why you're kind of obviously I know you play a bit of Nintendo and obviously into PC as well, but obviously, and again in terms of the guys, it's like you're very much the Sony guy, who I know. So how did that kind of come to be?
Yeah, so don't know, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I literally inherited my PS1, PS2 from my brother. He played it all. We had an N64 actually at the time. Played a lot of that. GoldenEye was great. One time he really pissed me off, and I deleted all his GoldenEye saves, and he never forgave me. But yeah, so I've always loved PlayStation. I got the PS3, and then it was around that sort of time, just after that came out, I was like, I want to play some PC. So I took up building a PC, got that all done. But then PS4 rolled around, and I thought that was a really strong generation.
Hmm.
And it was neck and neck, I think, with Xbox One. And now PS5 is out, and I think they've hit a home run with the PS5, to be honest. And I still really enjoy playing it. The backwards compatibility is amazing. I've recently been streaming Final Fantasy 15, which is vastly improved from the PS4 version. And yeah,
All good, all good. And obviously, you guys will very much know this story, but obviously, it started with the NES for me. I can't remember. I've got it written down somewhere. The year that my dad bought the NES, and I know obviously you had there was an Atari at my nan and granddad's, which we had played, but I mean, really, really like gaming started for me with the NES. Super Mario Bros. One. The next door neighbors had it. Um, and it just blew my mind. So yeah, it kind of started there, but then actually, my uncle had a Mega Drive. Sonic the Hedgehog, original Sonic the Hedgehog. Streets of Rage and stuff. And I guess as you were getting a bit older, that was quite appealing. So we were very much locked into the Mega Drive or Genesis, depending where you're from, and um, and for a long time, and then the following gen, which is kind of where it changed. I just remember getting in late. Like my friends had PlayStations at school. I remember them talking about the Metal Gear Solid demo. Talking about, and I think you could get as far as the tank fight, which I think is actually quite a decent size for the demo anyway. But I just remember hearing about that so much, and I was all about I want to get a PlayStation. And then we were with my auntie one day. My mum and stepdad must have been somewhere, and randomly she had an N64, and I still to this day don't know why. She had my cousins were two girls who weren't into game and still aren't, but they just randomly had it. We went round there and played GoldenEye, and as kind of Matt previously mentioned, like that was it for me. I can't really remember if I was already into James Bond or whether GoldenEye got me into James Bond, but it blew my mind. I won't dwell on it too much because I feel like we could have an entire chat about like kind of the old school. And I guess like from the N64, just kind of went from there. Ocarina of Time. Obviously Nintendo had some real big boys on the N64 in terms of like exploring 3D gaming. And yeah, I got invested from there, and I've had everything since. I have obviously, I've played Xbox. Me and Jordi played Xbox together. That's where the old Biff comes from. That was very much a Jordi thing. People ask me, and it's like it's not even my thing. But yeah, as Jordi said, like 360 era, yeah, 100% agree. I guess that was when like mainstream online gaming came in. And yeah, I do think it was a great generation. But first and foremost for me, Nintendo. Although I keep up to date with most of the other companies and obviously the industry in general, I'm waking up and I'm checking Nintendo stuff in the morning. That's it basically. That's the one for me. So we were gonna actually, I think, Jordi, we'll save this for another time. We're gonna talk about the current generational landscape, but I'm thinking in terms of time and stuff, we'll save that for future chat because that could probably be quite a lengthy one. What these first 6 months
definitely.
have looked like anyway. Bear with me, sorry, I need to switch over to my emails because I've completely relayed everything at the last minute. As you do. Bum.
Needs a bit of scuffing, otherwise it's not authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Right, okay. So in terms of, we won't do that yet. So obviously, no E3 last year, and I can't actually. Was there just absolutely nothing? Did anyone do anything at all? Was there like a state of play? I can't really remember if anything
It was
happened.
a digital event, wasn't it? So they did sort of everything digitally. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't an event, but it was all just their own
It was
showcases.
all just stream stuff. So yeah, obviously again this year, I don't know if you guys have seen the full schedule. Actually, the full schedule isn't released, but the full list of what they put as sponsors on there. There's quite a lot of showings. Obviously, a main one for me will be Nintendo, and obviously you guys. Well, Jordi, you'll be on the Xbox stuff, and I'll be on the Xbox, and you know why I'll be on the Xbox. We can discuss that in your bit anyway. And Matt will likely be over mine at some point watching, some of the event. But obviously, you've got Bethesda, which is being tied in with Xbox now. But there's a lot of people there. You'll be seeing a lot of multi-platform stuff, etc. But yeah, I mean, personally, I think in terms of like, the digital format, like, do you guys like that? Like, do you think it works in terms of like reach? I mean, I certainly think it does. But Jordi, what are your thoughts on like, being an all digital event? You about that?
I don't really know. I think it just people still love a convention and they still love to be part of the experience. And like an onstage show is just so much better. Just for hype reasons more than anything. I think even when you see an audience on screen from your living room, there's still a bit more hype around it, knowing that genuine, real people are there, rather than it's all been put together.
Applause,
like, or you think like big E3 reveals where you've got the crowd there are insane. As you say, you can just absolutely feel the hype through a room full of people. Even like if Nintendo do a direct, that's going to be a big one. They stream it from the Nintendo UK store, and even there, when you've got probably no more than 100 people in there, just that hype level of people absolutely losing it. As I'm sure we've all done at some point. With some reveal. But,
it's like those surprise bits as well, like when Keanu Reeves came out for Cyberpunk, things like that.
I was literally going to say that.
Yeah.
You're breathtaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, Cyberpunk could be a whole other conversation, but yeah, 100%. Keanu Reeves, just just widely loved just from the entire planet, it would seem anyway. So yeah, that was immense. That was immense, him coming out, and obviously everyone just going completely crazy. Was that Game Awards or was that E3? I can't
I
actually
can't
I can't
remember.
actually remember now.
I felt like it was all around the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm
Because I
not
think
sure.
Game Awards come. No, not Game Awards. Sorry, Gamescom. No, it would have been Gamescom actually. I don't know.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that at time. But yeah, so just wanted to do a whip round. What are people currently playing? Obviously, Matt, you've said you've done a bit of Final Fantasy 15 backwards compatibility. But yeah, if we go around the room, Jordi, what are you currently getting stuck into?
It's quite a surprising one, but I'm playing. I don't know if you've heard of this game, but Knockout City. It's only came out last week, but
Is
I've
it
pumped about.
is it like is it a dodgeball thing? Is it weirdly like a dodge? Is this it, or
Yeah,
have I
it's
just made
dodge.
it up?
It's dodge. Think of Splatoon and Dodgeball mixed together. I
Yeah,
think you quite like it.
yeah. I have. Yeah, so I have. I think I remember. It was on. I think they showed a bit of it. In a direct a little while back, but I think it's multi-platform, is it? So yeah, I've seen a few bits popping up on socials about it. So you're getting on that, are you?
Yeah, well, I've pumped all my time into that game this week. About 24 hours. I've just been smashing it. It's just so much fun. It's like 3v3, and you've got the competitive leagues, and it's obviously all the cosmetic stuff you can
Yeah,
buy, and there's battle pass and stuff. But
it's free
it's
to
pretty.
it's free to download, is it?
I think it's still a chargeable game, but you can download it for free and rank up to level 25 before you got to pay for it. So anyone can try it for.
Oh, okay,
It
okay. So free to
takes you good
start.
7 or 8 hours to get that far. So
Yeah, okay,
it's
cool.
almost like a 10-hour trial, really.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah, I think I saw some of the marketing for it. I did like the look of it, the art style. It looked quite cool, quite leisurely.
Yeah, it's very cartoony, splatoony slash Fortnite
yeah. I see.
vibes.
There's another one which I haven't played. I don't know if it's Switch only, called Ninjala. Have you seen this Ninjala? And it looks, again, it must just be a Switch only thing. Again, that looks like really Splatoony, but you're ninjas. I guess it's like 4v4 stuff going on, but I'd just rather stick with Splatoon personally. But again, I did see people talking about it, people playing it. So you've just solely been crushing that, basically.
Yeah. Other than that, I tend to just flip between games on the Game Pass and just try things out. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's really sort of been the main go-to game for me this
yeah,
week.
yeah. Nice, nice. What about yourself, Matt? What you been on?
Well, I've been grinding out Apex. I continue to do that over and over. I'm trying to get myself back into Diamond because I hate myself,
Yeah.
and I just enjoy pain. But
Is it
I've
this
loved that
is
game
this
since
is
it came out.
solo queue? Sorry, this is solo queue for
Yeah,
Diamond. Yeah,
solo
yeah.
queue.
Okay, yeah. Which you have done, which you did do, didn't you?
Yeah, so last season was the first time I did it, and now I have the trail, and I want to do it again. The skydive trail, that is. But it's not fun. But I've literally followed the game since it came out in 2019, and I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
But alongside that, I've been doing, as I said, Final Fantasy 15, but also been going back through Resident Evil 8 because I want to get the platinum for that.
Okay.
Because I thought that was a really good game, like really solid. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was actually when it got announced at it was a PS5 reveal event, and I was like, okay, yeah, Resi doing their thing, but as it got closer, it was like, this is good. And they did 3 demos, which was impressive. I didn't think they
Okay.
would do that, and obviously that's probably what sealed me on the second demo that I should play it.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
again, like, so I certainly know, a couple of guys at work have been playing it. I think Jamie's trying to do. Is there an achievement? It might be a platinum trophy. Clear it in 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah, they do that in every Resi.
Oh, okay. So Jamie's doing that, which I know he's hating currently. And actually, I know the boss that he's talking about, where you don't, you're like in some little, like some machine, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
the yeah.
it's that boss. So any upgrade you've done, it's like doesn't really matter because you've got to play in this thing.
Ooh.
Um,
It's annoying because you're giving someone an achievement to speed run a game that's half of it is the story and the anticipation and all of the atmosphere. It's like, oh no, just run through it.
yeah,
Don't pay
yeah,
attention
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
anything.
yeah. Like I can get that in some games, but yeah, as you say, yeah, Resi, that's a bit of an odd one for that.
They had a
Um,
similar thing in MGS4. Metal Solid 4, where
Okay.
there was a title you could get if you did it in a certain amount of time, but the time included cutscenes, which everyone was like, "What?" So you just had to
Really?
skip every cutscene, yeah, and you had to
I
do
was
it in
going to say, yeah,
5
especially
hours.
when each Metal Gear has like 5 years worth of
hmm
cutscenes in it. So that's a bit sneaky. Yeah, some people just skip all that anyway. So yeah, okay, cool.
PC just blows up in the background.
Yeah, let's hope not. Yeah, so in terms of myself, mostly been playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I got it for my eldest daughter's birthday, as you guys will probably know. But yeah, like considering when I first saw it, I haven't played any of the previous ones. When I first saw it, really, it wasn't really that hyped. Even though I was kind of still in like Avengers mode. I was still very much hype around the MCU and stuff like that. And I got it really because we did during lockdown, we second lockdown, I think it was. We did. Excuse me. We got Disney Plus, and so we went through the timeline. We didn't watch absolutely everything for Ragnarok. No, sorry, not for Ragnarok. The Dark World we didn't watch. Sorry, of course we watched Ragnarok. But yeah, so I got that for her. And to be honest, like it's actually pretty solid. Like I have gripes with it, but yeah, the fact that we can all sit down and do like couch co-op, 4-player co-op, me, mummy, and the two girls, just saving the universe is great. So I got them. I'm gonna grab these because they're always down it. So I got them both. Got them both for controller for birthday. So these are the Power A ones. They're actually pretty solid, super light, but I mean it's for the girls. It doesn't have to be great. And then I got the Pikachu on there. So so they love it. We sit down, we beat up Thanos for a bit. So yeah, I've just kind of been going through that. I've just unlocked the 4th highest difficulty, so kind of going through the campaign again and doing that. And to be honest, like not a great deal else. Popping on Smash every now and then, obviously popping on Smash every now and then. But yeah, and I am trying to clear some back catalogue. So I've re-downloaded a few bits on my Switch where like I've started and then I've just you know what you do. You just move on to something else and then it just sits there. So I am attempting to clear some of that. But I did one of which was Metroid Fusion, which I've got on my 3DS, and I also restarted the NES Metroid game, which is just so hard and horrible, and like there's no map, and it's just like Super Metroid is so much better, like so much better. But yeah, so that's what I've been spending my time doing. But also, coming up to E3, so I'm YouTube binging. Yeah, I'm doing bits like that, just kind of keeping up to date on what's going on. Switch Pro
Is there
rumors.
a is
Sorry,
there
go
a
on.
Metro is there a Metroid game on the Switch yet, or is there
There
one
is
going to come?
not.
Or
I will be going over that. That is one of my topics that we will discuss because there's multiple bits bopping around. But yeah, there will be. So I mean, Metroid Prime 4 has been is in development, but I'll go over that later on because that's a bit of a story which Matt probably knows because I just talk his ear off at work about it whenever anything happens. Um, but yeah, right, okay. I think we can probably move on to what people like people's sections now. Hold on. We've done that. We've done that. We're skipping that. Hold on. This has just put this in. Oh yeah, no, sorry. It's just completely ballsed up. Okay. Jordi. Yeah. So if you want to Microsoft, obviously I'll pop in a little bit here because obviously there's certain certain things I'm hyped about, really hyped about. Excuse me. For Microsoft, but what you think is definitely going to be there, what are you most excited for, and what's like the one thing that is probably got a 0.5% chance to happen, but if it was announced, like would make you like absolutely lose it. Like what would be the dream reveal? So yeah, so talk us through what Xbox E3 looks like.
so obviously, yeah, Halo. I think obviously it's guaranteed that Halo Infinite's gonna dominate the show to start with. We'll probably start with that, to be honest. I think They'll show a little bit of the campaign because it's been a year of polishing up after the dreadful reveal last year. That got a bit of backlash.
While we're on that, what were your thoughts on the on that initial reveal? Just while we're on the topic.
I didn't think it was too bad, to be honest. I think it was over exaggerated how the little it definitely needed polishing from that trailer, but from what they showed in the atmosphere in the world of Halo, it looks like it's going to be amazing. I think it probably need another year, in all honesty. But I think what they're going to show is what everyone wants to see is the multiplayer, and what that's all about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's been a strong rumor for a long time, and it's sort of no one's spoke about it for a while, but a battle royale, which I know battle royale games have been done to death, but I think a Halo one would be out of this world. It'd just be insane.
I think it's just built for it, you know. So I remember Halo 3 is obviously going back to the 360 days, big team battle where you've got banshees flying around and you've got warthogs going around. Absolutely, I think a Halo battle royale. I think it will be criminal if it doesn't happen, and I know people will be like, "Oh, they're jumping on the bandwagon," but a lot of the stuff that you kind of see in terms of vehicles being implemented is Halo kind of made this a thing, to start with, really, didn't it?
It was the first real big shooter, wasn't it? I think the one that sort of paved the way for everyone else on console, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a 90-minute show, and Xbox have got an hour, and then I think Bethesda are going to jump in. So Starfield is the one that everyone's raving about, but no one actually knows what it is, which is really weird. There's so much hype around it. Yeah. It kind of looks like it's going to be very Mass Effect style game.
Okay. Yeah.
Open world RPG, but another one that's been rumored is Forza Horizon 5 is going to come. Everyone wants a Forza Motorsport, but I think they're sort of polishing that right up to be the next big racer, because they've not had a Forza Motorsport for quite some time.
Yeah.
But if I was to choose something that I'd really want to see, it's really difficult to choose something really. So I'd have to come back to you on that. But I'm super hyped about the news for Time Splitters coming back, which was announced last week.
And I tell you what's a bit sad is, I don't know. It depends where they go with it. I feel like it will miss Switch, which in a way I think is awful, because I would think bring it to Switch, it will shift millions on Switch. It will sell like crazy anyway, but that portability, being able to just do local Time Splitters multiplayer, I think would be a great fit. And traditionally the art style hasn't been the most demanding, so I don't know. But again, the key thing with Time Splitters was it was beautiful, 60 frames per second, even back on the PS2. Do I think Switch could deliver a 60 frames per second Time Splitters? Probably not. We'll see what they do with it. But I know you're excited. Do you want to talk about your previous your future perfect accolades? Because I know you're rightfully very proud.
Yeah. Well, back then I was about 18, 19, so I used to do marathon sessions on that game every day.
Yeah.
Because all I ever played was that, and I was top 10 in the world on the PlayStation 2 online on that game, and just I think if I went back and played it today with the online server switched on, I'd just fall back in love with it, because there's never been a game like it since. And, I'm just when I woke up and read that news that day, it was like Christmas Day for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
It really was.
And this is the thing. People have been talking about this for a long time, and it's right. They've got. So, is the studio still Free Radical, or have they just got the original team in a different studio, under a different studio name? Do you know?
Yeah, so it's been passed back and forth quite a few times. So I think Crytek took it, and then they sold it on to THQ Nordic, I think it was.
That's right, yeah.
And then Deep Silver as well. So I think it's quite a few of the original team are going to be working on it. So it's not like a whole new studio's just taking all the assets and everything.
Yeah,
It's actually got going to be some experienced people who've worked on it before, which is amazing. So that was my worry as well. Were they going to ruin it? So, but yeah, I think it's going to be. They can take as long as they want, as long as I know it's coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And announcing it 6 months into a generation, you know it will land this gen, and I mean you'll have plenty to tide you over until then, and then after it comes out you won't play anything else for probably for 12 months. So
That's probably it. Yeah.
So yeah.
But another one I'm looking forward to is Battlefield 6, which I'm sure everyone in the room will probably be look forward to playing it as well.
Yeah.
But
So we were talking before you got in. Yeah, Matt was like, "Have you seen what's been trending?" Which I actually hadn't. Would you believe? Shame on me.
I mean,
but
the
yeah,
fact
I
that
believe they're revealing that on the 9th, is it? 9th of June.
yeah,
Nice. So that'll be like, that's pre E3. So I think the official E3 schedule starts on the 12th anyway. So and this is the thing, and obviously we'll come to it on your section, Matt. This is why I've said about in terms of state of play, like do we see one a bit later in the month or anyway, but yeah, but we'll get to that. But yeah, anything else, Jordi, like Xbox wise? I got a few bits that I'll happily kind of chip in with on that.
Other than that, I mean, I could talk forever about what's going to be there, but I think there will be a few like mic drop moments, and I think there'll be some stuff that we don't know about yet. Phil Spencer said there's one IP that's going to blow everyone away, which nobody knows.
Okay.
And then obviously for us Xbox gamers now, it's all about Game Pass and seeing what comes to that. So
yes. Yeah.
I'm excited. Happily got the day off that day, so that's what I'll be doing is gearing myself up to watch that.
Is it the Sunday? Is it Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Sunday.
Sunday evening, 6 o'clock, I think, our time.
Yeah, nice.
It might be later than that. I don't know. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, I know that's usually generally I know. So Nintendo usually have the Tuesday, and it's usually 5 o'clock it starts. So that big slot for you know what again. So the big sponsors as they put them. Yeah, I guess it'll be around that time. But yeah, that's all good. Yeah, obviously, in terms of myself, obviously a new Perfect Dark was revealed, which I completely lost it over. I was watching like some reaction. No, I didn't watch it live or like bother doing a reaction to it, but I watched some of the reaction videos, and people who and this isn't gatekeeping at all, but people who were like, oh, like yeah, I'm a massive Perfect Dark fan. As the camera, because it's kind of like done from a drone's view. If you saw the trailer, it's like going through a building and whatnot, you know, through vents. So yeah, classic stuff like that. And it goes up the side of the building, and the Datadyne logo is on the building. And it passes through it. But then you had some people just didn't react to that at all. At that point, I was like, they're doing it. I was completely losing my mind. And then when it obviously goes over to Joanna and it says like, what did he say? Something like, "Have you found what you're looking for?" Like Agent Dark or something like that. And they're like, "It's Perfect Dark." I was like, "You knew 20 seconds ago it was Perfect Dark." But yeah, man. I mean, so obviously I don't have a next gen machine yet. Will I have in the next 12 months? It might depend on the availability, but it's kind of like that's pulling me towards Xbox quite hard, you know. Massive fan of the N64 version. Leveled up my multiplayer rank on the N64 version for the first time in 20 years the other week, so I'm still plugging away at that. The 361, I look back at it now and I'm just like, this was not what I was after. You know, the art style change, as much as, you know, it was an N64, so the graphics weren't great. It's like, you know, this was a game that was an 18 in the UK. You know, if someone stood next to a wall and you shotgun them in the face, like, you know, there's a big bloody patch behind them on the wall. And I was like, this is like as adult games, I guess, got at the time. And then yeah, it went to Perfect Dark Zero. And don't get me wrong, I played it a lot. I played it a lot. But like I look at it now and it's like, ultimately, overall, I would say it was a disappointment for me. And then the direction of this new trailer seems very much, you know, it just seems like mature again. You know, it just seems like it's what I would have expected then. But you know, I'm still very like very kind of holding back my excitement. You know, the spy genre, which is what it's been historically, isn't even really a genre anymore, much to be honest. You know, you think like Splinter Cell, which was arguably the biggest, and then Metal Gear Solid, which was another, not spy, but that stealthy kind of element. These are genres, or these are like franchise which just don't have anything going currently, and haven't had for for years now. So I am interested to see what they do with it. But yeah, I'd love it if they showed a bit more. And then again, like you said with your Halo piece, yeah, I mean, I wasn't overly disappointed with the with what was shown for Halo, and I think as well, like so little was shown, and it's like ultimately, it's like I feel like it was more a case of, and don't get me wrong, like you've got new hardware coming out, you want to show something, and you want to show something that is hype. This isn't the first time this has happened. Something's been shown. So the exact same thing, although not exactly the same situation. You got Pokemon Legends Arceus coming out, and people are saying like how rough it looks, and I was like, they just wanted something out for for the it was like a Pokemon Direct, or it wasn't a Direct, or whatever it was called, but they just wanted to show something. So yeah, and then obviously Gears of War is another big Microsoft thing. Like me and the missus still play Gears 2 and 3 on the old 360 just against bots, insane level, and we win every time, of course. So yeah, that's the Microsoft side of things, like pulling me this way, and then you've got Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff going and pulling me this way. I think as much as I won't go too much into this because of it was going to be a section, but as much as I'd say the first 6 months is for me personally been a bit bare bones this generation. In terms of like what you could be seeing in the next 12 months, could be huge. It could be absolutely massive. So yeah, I can see why people are excited, and people are buying the machines off of eBay. Isn't
Scalpers.
that right? We'll save that for another. We'll have to do a roasting podcast.
I plead the fifth.
Biggest roasts. But yeah, okay. Anything else, Jord, or is that you?
Just quickly going back to Perfect Dark,
Yes, yeah.
I'm in touch with a couple of the developers for that game, and
Nice. What is the studio called now?
I think it's the Initiative, isn't it?
It is the Initiative.
That's what
Yeah,
they're
that's
called.
right. I was drawing a blank. Yes, that. Thank you.
One of the lighting designers follows me on Instagram, and he uploads a lot of his personal projects.
Okay.
The talent those guys have got is incredible. So that when that game comes, it's going to be something else, I think.
So this has been the Initiative. Is this right? This has been like a hand-picked studio that Microsoft has kind of have made, basically.
Yeah.
So again,
yeah.
I like that. I like the, and as you say, if you're seeing work from the team, talented individuals on it, I'm all about that. That makes me more hype, So might still have to hold off and see which one I buy, because I can't buy both of them. If I do buy one, I can't buy them both. I just absolutely cannot.
Well, you could get a PS5 and an Xbox One S, which is a bit more affordable.
I could do that. We'll see. And the thing is that Series S could maybe work for me, because
Series S.
I feel like I wouldn't have loads and loads of games on it, but then I do also feel like if I'm doing the upgrade, I want to do it. I don't currently have a 4K telly or monitor, so if I was going to do it, I would want to make sure I was making that big leap anyway. Maybe I'll save up some nectar points and I know a guy who got his Series X just with nectar points.
Wow.
Like, just doesn't spend them for an entire console generation, saves them up, and then that was it. So he just got it with nectar points. I was like, all right.
My mate bought his Series X because Microsoft have got their own Microsoft reward points where you just do like Bing searches and all sorts of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
He saved his up for 2 years and bought a Series X with it, and I buy about 4 or 5 full price games with them every year. That's how good the reward system is on Microsoft as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's decent. That is decent. Especially that the option is even there. It's not like, oh well, you can just buy stuff from the store. You can actually buy physical rewards as well, which is amazing.
Yeah.
especially some of them fancy controllers that that retail for a bit of money.
Hmm.
But yeah, okay, all good. You're good then, Jordi? Anything to add or?
That's all good for me.
Yeah.
I think we should move on to PlayStation
Love it,
because
love it.
I
Yeah,
don't know a
yeah.
lot about what's coming personally, but I've seen a few good things.
Yeah, obviously not gonna be at the show. The big thing recently has been Horizon State of Play, but yeah, Matt, you obviously very much more your landscape. You know me when it comes to Sony, I'm just kind of zoned in on Horizon. Currently, not not a lot else. I'm not saying there's not other stuff that I wouldn't mind playing, but that's the one for me. After me and Jordi played it at EGX, was that 5 years ago now? Was it five? No, was it 5 years ago? PS4 Pro
It
was
must be.
just coming out, wasn't it? Because they had
Yeah, yeah,
PS4 Pro there, and it
yeah. That was. I
was.
think we played it on the PS4 Pro, didn't
We
we?
did, yeah,
I think so.
and it
Would be
was
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, long
Yeah.
time ago. But yeah. So chappers, what's going on, Sony?
Well, to be honest,
Mhm.
I think with their last state of play, they sort of blew their load a bit early.
Really?
Because obviously their big flagship at the moment, as far as we know, is Horizon Zero Dawn, and not Zero Dawn, but 40 minutes of gameplay, and that was it. So I did a bit of research, and apparently most major companies were predicting that the state of play would be Horizon and other like small announcements, but it was just Horizon, nothing else.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they've done their, I think, unless they have something else big in the wings that we have no idea about, they've done that already. So I don't know if they're like, oh, we're going to make a month of big announcements instead of having 1 week of E3 or something. I don't know. In terms of what they're going to show when they have their separate show, which I imagine they'll call another state of play either before or after E3. I mean, they make a habit of announcing it at the last minute, so, but they'll do one and it will be
yeah,
before or after, I think. They'll probably call it a state of play,
yeah,
or they might have a special name for it, I don't know. But I'm thinking they're going to have to rely on things such as, so Final Fantasy VII Integrate will be out by then, which is the bumper edition of Final Fantasy VII. So there is
right.
potential for part two, maybe a small teaser, something like that, and that would have your big applause moment in it if they showed that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I'm thinking they'll be able to do a lineup of all third party games, so you'll have Final Fantasy 16 probably as well in there.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe what else was I thinking? Well, I mean, Battlefield, obviously. So now that Battlefield will have been revealed by then, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to double down on the hype by obviously having a cinematic trailer on the 9th and then doing a gameplay trailer for all of the console for Microsoft as well. Maybe we'll have access to that. They'll show that probably, I think. Yeah. I think in terms of the first 6 months, though, I think the PS5 launched well in terms of its lineup because um, you had a lot of exclusives. So you obviously had what was it? Godfall. Godfall. That was it. I'm struggling to remember the name here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was a fight. It was a really, really well done fighting game. You had a few other bits and pieces in there that were really good. So like me, I can't think of all of them now. But and I think obviously the problem is the pandemic. I think that everyone was willing to
Yeah,
just be
yeah,
like, we're gonna take some time. We're not gonna have a massive launch on our consoles, and it's gonna all happen this year. So I think whatever they've been holding on to since before they even launched the PS5
mm,
is gonna come out at E3, hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I mean, like you say, yeah, third party stuff will certainly be shown. And then yeah, I still feel like we could get a state of play this month. Or is that just around this time? Like you say, I mean, I was pretty hype about the Horizon thing, but obviously not being like a huge Sony fan as such. Yeah, I can see the disappointment when it's like a state of plays coming and you just get like you just get one title for it, whereas like and this isn't a flex it by any means, but like obviously when you've had like a Smash Direct, it's just about Smash, but I feel like again I just feel like they've been longer, that they've been longer, or like the initial like kind of Smash reveal at like E3, that was like a massive kind of segment and stuff, but
yeah. I
yeah.
think they could. I think they could do better on their, telling us what they're going to do, because obviously we're 2 weeks away now, and we've had a state of play. That's it. I mean, I scoured the internet earlier for any sort of rumors or leaks about state of play or future state of plays, and there's just
Yeah,
nothing. There's even dedicated pre-searches on Google where people have tried to find the June month dates, and there's just nothing. There's nothing out there. So they could do a bit better on that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a majority of third-party stuff is going to carry it. To be fair,
yeah,
I said
and
Battlefield's massive.
and this is the thing. It's like they're a huge third party title. Like in terms of third party titles, like Battlefield, you don't get much bigger than that when it comes to third party. So like, there's obviously stuff to get hyped for. Do you think we're gonna see? And this isn't a Nintendo thing so much. This is these naughty Microsoft and Sony people. Like console specific exclusive stuff, which I'm not crazy about, but it'll be like what was it? There was a Call of Duty thing, and it was like this will be exclusive to this platform for a year. Well, generally after a year, COD dies because new COD comes out. And this can be another thing we talk about in just kind of general industry stuff. But again, it doesn't overly affect me because it seems to happen for these big titles. Like your Call of Duty, your Battlefield, stuff like that. Microsoft aren't like Smash is going to be on Xbox for 6 months before it comes to Switch, because obviously that would obviously cause some problems. But yeah, do you think we'll see kind of more of that? You've also got, and more so Sony and Microsoft, studios are being brought up. Did I see today? Is it Returnal? Is that the name of it? Like the roguelite, which has just come out. And apparently Sony have now bought them after the success of that. And this seems to be happening a lot.
Yeah, they're definitely making a lot of big moves. I mean, one thing we could, dream to think about is something from Hideo Kojima, because obviously they have his studio under their wing.
Yeah. So,
and,
so that's actually
yeah.
Sony of. I must have missed that. I probably did.
Yeah, no, they. Well, I say they have them under their wing. I know they had exclusive rights to Death Stranding,
Right.
so I don't know if that meant they had exclusive rights to the other games in there. But I do know that Sony has funded his studio to make Death Stranding become a thing. So I don't know the specifics of that.
Yeah, and again, I think, from a business perspective. Excuse me, getting your second drink open. From a business perspective, that obviously works for you quite well. Nintendo came in and gave Platinum the money to make Bayonetta 2 a thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a thing. But obviously, the thing was, here's the dollar, but it will just be on our platforms. And that does seem to be exclusively like a Bayo 2 thing, because since then Bayo has appeared on PC. The original came to Steam. That was a thing that happened. Although the new one does seem to be Switch only. So I really don't know. This is the thing. You never know that kind of intercompany relationship between, obviously it's not public knowledge and stuff that they shout about, but yeah, okay.
It's weird because obviously Microsoft had the COD exclusivity deal, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it just switched to Sony, and it just feels like you said with the Rogue thing. I feel like a lot of Microsoft and Sony are just flexing and just spending their cash buying these studios just to get these games exclusive. I feel like by the end of this generation, it's going to be a war of exclusives. Personally, I think.
Yeah, I could see that. And as much as people say, now I don't see it too much. We're getting to that age where we're grown up enough for the console war, like kind of like stuff, just to like not really be like that much of a thing. But in terms of people saying like, oh, the console war isn't a thing anymore, I was like, well, at corporate level, it certainly does seem to be, because you're buying up these studios, so you essentially take it off the map for other machines. So yeah, I think it'll be next 24 months. I think will be very interesting in terms of. I guarantee you. So we'll see after this is all done and dusted. We'll see how long it is until the next studio is purchased. Hold on, right? I just need to check my recording.
The Perfect Dark comes out on the PC. I do want to play that. I did put a lot of hours into the original, and it would suck if it's just on Microsoft. But then having said that, Sony should be doing the same thing. We should be putting our stuff on PC if we can't put it on the other console. You know.
Yeah, and again, it's like I think like there is stuff. I still think that like Splatoon should be on PC because I think high level like PC Splatoon play would be like an absolute just dream to watch. But yeah, I mean that kind of works for me. I've obviously got a PC. The thing being is that it's not overly new anymore. I've got I've got a 1060 and I've got the i5 that you give me in there. So I mean, and also on that is like I'm not obviously we don't know if it's first or third person yet, but I feel like in terms of where I sit in the ability scale on PC, just further this way, like as a percentage, I would be a lot further this way. Whereas on console, I might be mid range. So for me, I still like FPS on console because I don't play enough on PC. I don't invest enough time to be consistently good. And obviously, as you can see with the setup, I'll have the mouse like down here, so I'm not at a desk where I'm sat in the exact same place. This is even sloped, so I mean my hand wouldn't even be straight whilst playing. So it's just me making excuses for being terrible at PC FPS. But
well, I mean the level of skill you put out using motion controls on Splatoon, which I will never wrap my head around.
this is it. I think that's beautiful. I wish that like Nintendo would just do a template where it could be like port Splatoon aiming controls over to your game. It would be a treat. Fortnite needed it desperately, but yeah. So Jord, any bits on like PlayStation from you at all? Have you seen any of the Horizon? You have it. You did you watch a state
Yeah,
play or you seen clips?
yeah. Well, I watched it in full. Obviously, I'm very biased towards Xbox, but I won't shoot down in flames what PlayStation have got going on because they've got their own incredible games. I quite like the look of Returnal, so when I do pick a PS5 up one day, I would love to catch up on all these games that I will miss. Stuff like Days Gone, I've not played, but that's just gone onto PC and that looks amazing in PC graphics on there. But yeah, one game I'd love to see come back to PlayStation is SOCOM. I don't know if you ever remember
Yeah,
SOCOM
yeah,
back
yeah,
on the
yeah,
Yes,
PlayStation.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That was one
They
of the
kind of
first.
yeah.
I was
Keep
just saying
going.
that. I was gonna say, sorry, that was one of the first games I think that was on the PS2 where you could hook it up with an Ethernet cable and try and play online with people, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, and it was like really bad comms on there, and it was like the first time you could start chatting to people online on a console. It was.
Oh,
I love that
it
game.
had voice comms, did it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow. Okay.
But yeah, I think the last SOCOM they did was on the PlayStation 3, and it was a different studio took it on, and it wasn't great. And I think a next generation version of that would I'd buy a PlayStation for that game definitely.
I mean,
But yeah,
reboots are in style at the moment. Yeah.
Especially
yeah,
like was SOCOM like kind of special forces, like a bit like Rainbow Sixy ish?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean,
Because I just feel like
I
Rainbow Six Siege was actually quite a big deal. If I'm right there, I think was quite big in terms of like it had like a competitive scene and stuff. Um, so I think there's certainly like a market for that kind of genre.
mm,
yeah,
But
definitely.
I've not played them
yeah.
because I can't aim.
Well, it was
But
to be
yeah,
fair, it was
it'd be interesting to see what comes for Sony. I think they've got their own bag of tricks up their sleeves, and I think they're probably doing what Rockstar do with GTA and keeping a lot close to the chest, whereas Microsoft are kind of pushing a lot out there just to try and.
Yeah, and I think like it's it's just an exciting time like this. Like you say, was it Jordi? You said about mic drop moments. Like this E3. These are like the best E3s. Like hardware reveals are always like cool, but in terms of what you're going to see now is likely what you're going to see over the next 18 months. And it's just like you say, that's a hype time. Like if like you say, Forza shows up, that'll be, like you say, people will lose their mind. So yeah, I think it's a great time, and like you say, yeah, like there's always secrets. There's always stuff that you don't know about. That's what makes it hard. That's the moments that you want the stage for, basically.
I mean, Sony seem to have some sort of watertight seal on their facts. Like you never see barely any leaks from them. I mean, we thought that Battlefield was good at that, and then last week someone actually dropped the entire trailer with a watermark over the middle to keep them a secret, and that's the first time I think Battlefield has ever dropped the ball like that. But yet
Really?
Sony just doesn't drop anything.
Yeah. It's interesting, and don't get me wrong. Like, I love something that you just have no clue about, whatsoever. That's the absolute best in terms of when you're watching these events.
But the crowd will be missed though when they do that, like drop them.
Yeah. Well, it might be me and you might be around my house, so getting close to a crowd. Oh, no.
There's a video on YouTube somewhere.
Freeze a crowd.
There's a video on YouTube somewhere of the moment the snake got revealed for Smash. That'll be there forever.
Yeah, well, you can't see you. You can just hear you completely losing it in the corner.
You just need to hear it. You don't need to see it.
Yeah. That's a great video. I mean, that's got over 800 views. I don't know how that's happened. Seeing some 30-year-old man like just squeal like a girl at Solid Snake. Can't be beaten. Anything else from you, chappers?
No, I'd say something that everyone I think needs to do, Microsoft and Sony rather, is maybe just give us some reassurance about what they're doing to get more supply out there. Just anything would be really good to hear.
So this was recent. This was very recent. This was maybe end of last week. I think it was just Sony said it, but I feel like it will be across the board that PS5 will be short supply until 2022. That definitely came out recently. But then, I don't know if I had this conversation with you. There's a shortage. I don't know what it is because I haven't looked into it too much. But it's the reason that you can't get hold of like anything at the moment, because whatever component it is that goes into these things, companies are like vying for, But we're talking like this is in your iPhone. This is in absolutely everything. And I think that is one of the real blockers, which is why you're seeing it. If it's such obviously like current tech, which is in just absolutely everything. And I think it's just a case of the pandemic, affecting production. Yeah, I haven't done the homework on it because I thought, I don't really care that much because I've got my Switch, but and I don't plan to. I'm not in a financial position where I could be getting either of the other two, so it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me just yet. But yeah, if you guys want to look it up or whatever, that seems to be the thing. But I swear that's right that I heard Sony said that's going to be the case 2022. I don't hear that many people moaning about it. Most people I know who are super into it have got one. You know the guys at work. People have got their consoles already, so they're not too upset. And I also feel like, and again, this isn't me bashing at all. It's just like they're not even that much of a rush to go out and get it currently. Like I've played Miles Morales, and that is very nice. That is very, very nice. But in terms of like for me personally, there's nothing currently out there which is like I must have one right now. Got bills to pay and stuff, as we all know. But yeah, okay. Anything else from you, or you good?
Nope.
That about wraps up. Right, okay. I want to try not to waffle too much. What are we at? We're not at an hour yet, are we? We're not at an hour.
55.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was when we started, was it? Oh, okay, we're good. Maybe I will waffle a bit then. Right, just let me. I'm just going to do a new clip for my bit.
I mean, 55 minutes.
Oh, that's how long it's been.
It's gone.
No, because I feel like Jordi didn't get on until you started recording early, didn't you?
I might have done actually. Yes,
Jordi didn't get in here until he probably got in here an hour ago, but obviously, I feel like we didn't start recording. I feel like we didn't start doing it until 5:02, but who knows?
Okay.
Right, anyway, let's do this. Okay, so, and chappers, you may know some of this stuff already because obviously I talk about Nintendo a bit. People at work must just hate it. Someone asked me earlier, like, what are you currently playing? And I was just like, are you really putting yourself in this position? But I had my Switch right there, and I just thought, well, let me tell you. Let me tell you about my current team and who I'm currently leveling. But right, okay, where are we? So in terms of Nintendo, there are quite a few big bits, like, and obviously Nintendo hype for me at all times in general, but could have a really killer year. Well, we'll take Switch Pro out of the equation, as much as people are like, this thing's going to be revealed before E3, and then people will show Switch Pro running games at E3, is the current rumor going around. But I feel like let's wait until we've got something, and then we can chuck it into a future talk, because that could probably that could be a bit of a topic, if and when it does happen. But I think it was Bloomberg reported on it, who are reasonably well respected. Like, you know, it's not like the Daily Mirror have chucked something out there. So yeah, we'll skip over that. I think Nintendo are going to lead this year. Breath of the Wild 2. It obviously won't be called that. I think it will be Legend of Zelda. And then the subtitle, I don't think it's going to be like Breath of the something. I think it will be something completely different. But, you know, trailer was shown 2 years ago. Were you around mine at the time, Matt, when that was shown? Because we had a lot of people. We had people in here for that. So I think there must have been 6 of us in here.
Yeah, it was towards the end of the show and we all popped off.
yeah. So, you know, it was shown 2 years ago. And that was just over 2 years since the original game came out. So, you know, 4-year development cycle. I feel like we're definitely going to be seeing, you know, gameplay, something a bit more solid. It will be more than a trailer, I think. You know, obviously, I mean, we dissected that trailer basically just in in this very room, didn't we? After it dropped. So I think they'll go into gameplay mechanics. I think in the trailer you see this light go onto Link's arm. I feel like that's 100% going to be a core gameplay mechanic. The Sheikah Slate may go, and abilities may be tied around that. But yeah, and then obviously you see at the end of the trailer Hyrule Castle taken up into the sky. I feel like what they will do. So with Majora's Mask on the N64, it was basically compiled with stuff that didn't make it into Ocarina of Time. There were so many ideas in the development process that they were like, we could kind of do this with that. I feel like that's going to be the way that they're going to go with it. From the trailer, you would think it's going to have a slightly darker tone, which is kind of cool because you look at some of the concept art for some enemies that were left out of Breath of the Wild, and this stuff is like nightmare fuel. So I'm all about that, seeing a bit more of a mature themed Zelda anyway. But yeah, I think obviously the Nintendo world will go nuts if that gets shown. You know, I feel like it will. Obviously, I'm incredibly hyped for it, but yeah, we'll see. It needs to be more than the trailer, because if not, that is going to be. I think people will just be gutted if it's like this bit now. You know, we need to see maybe a few story details. You know, minimal story details. Yeah, as I believe. You know, the story comes second with all Zelda games. It's like I feel like the gameplay is all sorted, and then the story comes later on. You know, some people like the whole memories thing. Breath of the Wild, I actually quite enjoyed it. Not the best Zelda story, Skyward Sword, that there is. But obviously, Skyward Sword HD is coming out in July. They might show a bit more of that, like just a bit more of the gameplay. But you know, they're already kind of ramping up the like, you know, the kind of the press for that anyway. So yeah, so that's Zelda. I don't think I've got any other points on that. Bum. No, done that. So as Jordi asked earlier, Metroid. So yes, there aren't any Metroid games currently on the Switch. The forever rumored Metroid Prime Trilogy port, which was a Wii game, people have spoke about for a long time, could be a thing. You know, they have confirmed that Prime 4 is in development, and I feel like bringing like the Metroid Prime games are so good, and that would be me obviously being hype anyway. But the first one's still my favourite, by quite a distance. But I feel like introducing a series to a console at the 4th installment and not having any kind of context for the previous games, would just be a weird move, especially when you consider, all of the Wii U games, for example, that have been ported over. I feel like the only problem there would be the motion controls used for you can dual analog stick Prime 1 and 2 because that's how they originally were on the GameCube, but like number 3 was built around motion controls with the Wii remote, and they were really good motion controls as well. To the point where the gameplay mechanics and the boss fights and everything are kind of built around these mechanics. So that could be a challenge porting that, and Switch Lite is out, so you have to have functionality where you don't have to rely on the motion controls. Like they've done with Skyward Sword, the right analog stick just becomes your sword basically. So wiggle it left and right, and you wave it like this. But that wouldn't be so easy with like a first person shooter. So it'll be interesting to see. I feel like they should get it out there regardless. But you don't want to be like, oh, in portable mode, only Prime 1 and 2 can be played, because I just feel like obviously people would rage. That would be awful, and Nintendo makes some questionable decisions at times. So let's hope that doesn't end up being one of them. But also on the Metroid front, like we might see a trailer for Prime 4. That's what I think. I don't think we'll see any more from that. What we're more likely to see, is a 2D Metroid. Now, Mercury Steam, who worked on Samus Returns, which came out in 2017, are said to have actually finished a 2D Metroid that Nintendo is super happy with how it's turned out. Whether it's a new game or whether it's a Metroid Fusion remake or a Super Metroid remake. So Mercury Steam originally got on the map. They pitched to Nintendo a remake of Metroid Fusion, and they were like, "What do you think of this?" And it kind of got batted away. And then they went back to him with something similar, to which Nintendo were like, "Actually, we like what you're doing." So Mercury Steam collaborated with one of Nintendo's studios to do Samus Returns, which I really, really enjoyed. It had a bit of a difficulty spike. You just get to this boss, and oh my word, I was cruising through the game quite comfortably, and then this boss, which you could beat probably in under 5 minutes, and I spent about an hour, and I just kept dying. Like it just went from being like reasonably difficult to bang, and I was raging. I was in here. Just as well, really, because the kids were asleep upstairs, and I was just losing it because of this boss. But 2D Metroids are hype. The next one's super difficult. I've played Super Metroid on the SNES Online on the Switch, and I can see why so many people rate it so highly. It's weird when you play a game like a 16-bit game from that era, and it's atmospheric, and the music really sets it, and it's just how is this even a thing? So yeah, I would love to see that. I'd love to see. So allegedly, it's all finished. They're happy. 60 frames per second, as you'd expect a 2D game to be, running on Switch at 60 frames per second. But yeah, so I'm just interested to see where the art style will go, what they'll do with that, because I would really love. George, did you play Streets of Rage 4? I don't think you've played it, Matt, unless you played it at mine.
No.
Did you play it at all, Jordi?
Rage 4?
Yeah. Did you play it?
Yeah. I played it on the Xbox.
Yeah. So I would really
brilliant
love.
game.
Yeah, I would really love the art style of that to be used for a 2D Metroid. I would love it, just real high quality 2D sprite. Well, they're not sprites so much, are they? But I would love to see that. That'd be great. So yeah, I think that's much more likely to be seen on the Metroid front, and I'm hyped for it. I was saying to Matt, I'll be wearing my Samus shirt, which I've worn for the last 3 E3s, and nothing has been announced. So we'll get it out for the 4th year. Maybe we'll see something. Okay.
Well, hang on, you got a big 4, and you said in development. That was all you got.
Right, yeah. Oh, also on that. So this again. So this is the reason. So I should probably just talk briefly. I'll say briefly. So Metroid Prime 4 was announced. This was E3 2017. You just got a logo to say it was in development. Then in 2019, was it? Nintendo do a video saying that they're not happy with it. I don't even know who was developing it. I don't even think it got announced. It may have been Bandai Namco, but basically they weren't happy with it, and they released a video saying they were giving development back to Retro Studios, who did Prime 1 through 3. And then made great games since. They help on multiple things, but like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze to be one of the main ones is just such a great game. But with that, like, development restarted, I think maybe from scratch. So yeah, it was 2019 because I remember looking and thinking they've had like 2 years now, I guess, because it was January 2019, so they've had just over 2 years. But then last year, October 2020, Retro put a job listing up, or job listings, I'm not sure how many it was for, but for storyboard artists to bring together, and I quote, where is it? Where have I put it? It was to bring to life an emotional, interesting, and innovative scenes that elevate the narrative. So that would suggest to me story is done. I guess a story is written out, but you now obviously need people storyboarding it, what that's actually going to look like on your screen. I could talk ages about, the last narrative Metroid we got was Metroid Other M, which got a lot of hate. I actually didn't mind it. Like, it wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong, but people didn't like the cutscenes and Samus talking much and stuff like that. And I was like, it's just hard to have a silent protagonist in 2021 in games. Nintendo just get by with Link being a silent protagonist. I think in Zelda you can just about get away with it, but when it's like Samus, and again, like in Prime 3, there are more cutscenes where you've got actually scripted voice acting. So I would love it to take a bit more of a cinematic route, and go from there. Get it mature, get it scripted, get a Netflix series. All of that. But yeah, so that's the Metroid piece. That is the Metroid piece. Right, where are we? Okay. The next one, and this won't be a mega long one because there's not a lot to say. Bayonetta 3 was shown, has become a bit of a meme, was shown at the Game Awards 2017. So about 6 months after Switch had come out. Trailer shown, not gameplay, cinematic trailer shown, and then nothing. And still nothing. Nothing has been shown. Not a screenshot. Nothing. And that's quite a long time to be kind of to have radio silence. But Hideki Kamiya, who is the director, I think, is quite vocal on Twitter. Actually, quite funny on Twitter, actually. But as far as I'm aware, so he recently mentioned, I think it was start of this year, he mentioned, I can't say a lot about that, but he said like it's progressing fine, and they hope to share more this year. But Platinum are working on multiple games, some of which are apparently still unannounced as of January. I don't think they've announced anything since January, but obviously they're taking on a lot of games. They're not exclusively a Nintendo studio. As much as Bayonetta may only be on Switch, it's not really exclusive as a studio, as it were. But what you got to remember is in that time, so since Bayonetta 3 was shown to be in development for Switch, they've announced and released Astral Chain like in that time, which again was a Switch exclusive from Platinum. I think we've got to see something. If we don't, I just think people are going to be so demoralised. Like, even if it's just like a gameplay trailer, like not another just cinematic trailer, I just feel like we need to see something. We need to see something on that, because you've just got this meme on Twitter, which I don't know, Matt, you may have seen it, but it's like you've got Bayo and Jean like reading the news, and it's just like at the bottom it says like day 1170 or something, like still no news, and it's like that's so long. It's so long. So I'd love to see it. Number 1 and 2 I both really loved. Yeah, I need to see. I know that like, what was the last Devil May Cry? Matt, you'll know this. You're the Devil May Cry guy.
The latest
5?
one.
Was 5?
5, yeah.
So I know Kamiya was very impressed with that and wanted to make sure that what they were doing would like surpass that, basically. And that may be an impossible task. Obviously, I haven't played the game, but it's nice that
it will be.
That the genre for you it will be, of course it will. It's nice that the genre is encouraging like that high, that high standard that you want to keep pushing to make sure the title's the best it can be. And then I guess the last game specific bit, Xenoblade. Well, Monolith Soft's next game. It may be Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Obviously, 2 came out on Switch. Then they remade the Xenoblade Chronicles from the Wii. Definitive Edition came out, which was quite unexpected that they remade that, to be honest. But yeah, it's a very big studio now. I think it's up to like 300 employees. Like Monolith Soft is a big studio. They helped with they helped massively with Breath of the Wild's open world after what they did with Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. And they pitch in all over the place at Nintendo. So the main thing which makes me think we'll see it, obviously it's been a while, maybe not necessarily Xenoblade, but there's some concept art knocking around, which there has been for years, of a new IP from them, and you've got like, it looks almost more Western RPG. You've got like a female knight, and she's like kind of chainmail and sworded up, and there's almost like a red, like the Welsh dragon, like kind of red dragon up in the sky, and then I think there's some art like just of like the world basically. So it could be that, but that's rumored to be an action RPG. But yeah, I really don't know, because if Nintendo are really invested with making Xenoblade a thing, then if they've got 2 games on the go, they could push that to the forefront, and that may take over. But the one of the composers, who is it? Yasunori Mitsuda, recently posted in a blog, and I've seen the screenshot, and he was like, got a large scale like project coming up, like obviously recording project. This was for April, and it's just like a picture, I don't know, of maybe his apartment or like a studio somewhere, but there are just musical scores everywhere. And then you even had a few bits of paper which were like blanked out, and I'm like, is this character art or is this a title? When the first trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was shown, yeah, the music was a big factor. I think he's been with Monolith Soft since like the PS2 days, on Xenosaga and stuff like that. I might be mistaken, but yeah, the fact that you were having the same composers in was a big deal. It was something that was mentioned in the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 trailer. It cut to like music by da-da-da. So music obviously plays a big part, certainly in JRPGs, just as a genre, as a whole anyway. So really hoping we see something there. What did Xenoblade Chronicles, was that out was it 2017, the first year that the Switch was out, I think. So that's been a while, and as much as they'll be helping on other projects, I feel like we'll definitely see something. And then one more, and I won't go too crazy. Splatoon 3, obviously we've seen a bit of footage that was shown. It's crazy that like 1, 2, and 3 have come out in ultimately like such a like small space of time, but Splatoon's a big deal for Nintendo. I think the first one sold about 4.5 mil, which when you consider on the Wii U, that that's probably like 40% of the Wii U install base as it is. And then the Switch one has sold over 10 million. So this is something which is shifting units for Nintendo. Certainly, like it's massive in Japan. It's really, really big in Japan. So they showed a trailer for it, which people broke down and graphically, and it could just be that there's been a budget increase, but like graphically, it does look nicer. Like the shading, like certainly some of the character models seem to have like more polys on them and stuff like that. Like it just looks nicer. And again, so everyone's like, is this running on a Switch Pro? But I guess we'll see. If it gets revealed before E3, then we'll see. But I'd like to see a lot done with the story on that. Like the Octo expansion for number 2, story wise, was really, really good. The multiplayer is what it is, and you can jump in and out of that, just whenever, basically. But yeah, I'd like to see something done with the story and maybe get a bit more lore going on. Maybe they'll try and push it to the heights of like Zelda and stuff like that in terms of like story and like legacy, I guess. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. Just one other thing that I did want to do, and I know Matt knows this already, and I don't know if you'll have a clue, Jordi, or any requests or what, but obviously it's an E3. Smash character reveal is on, and I think they have said so. There's 2 left to this expansion pass, season 2 of the Fighters Pass. Will there be a season 3? I really don't know. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Maybe there could be. There could be because this thing definitely definitely sells millions upon millions of units. But I know what you're going to say already, Matt. But like any speculation? So or anyone you favour might be. I'm still thinking. I still think Master Chief needs to finish the Fighters Pass. In terms of absolute like gaming icons that aren't already in it. It's got to be Master Chief, man. It would be so hype, And there has been a bit of a collaboration between Xbox and Nintendo recently. Cuphead came over. I think was Ori and the Blind Forest. Is it? That was an Xbox thing that came over. Getting along nicely on a cross-format, cross-platform. It's just Sony being naughty on that, but that's another one. We can have another discussion about that. They've been a bit funny with that, haven't they? But yeah, so for me, yeah, whether both characters will get revealed, I don't know. But like Master Chief, and I'm already thinking about move set with like, and you'll have to excuse me because it's been so long, I can't remember names. But you've got the big old hammer. I feel like that's his side smash where you have like the hammer which hits them, so it like smack them, and it also like knocks them back, doesn't it? So you'd put a wind box on it to knock them back. I just think it could be such an immense move set. And and another thing, which I think this might be nothing, but the official Halo Instagram page couple of weeks back, or was it a month back, posted what I think it was a fan art basically, but it was like a Mario Halo crossover, and it's just interesting that the official Insta posts it, and yeah, so Chief for Smash, but yeah, Jordi, anyone you like think like gaming icon wise would be hype? I mean, Sephiroth was the last really hype reveal. Like people lost their mind, and rightfully so. The most famous Final Fantasy bad guy, just in ever. So yeah, anything you'd like to see or that you think people would like to see?
I think you've covered it really with Master Chief, to be honest.
I think it'd be immense. I think it'd just be immense. There's just no bigger icon. It is when you say like obviously, well, with the red, green, and blue in the podcast, green is kind of the associated color with Xbox. Master Chief in the green, and it's like, the original Halo, the original Xbox. I know obviously you had like the green on it, but that's the color, and yeah, I think it'd be hype. I think it'd be hype if he got him. But and I wonder who would you like to see in Matt?
Right.
Do they would they have white hair? I wonder.
There's this meme, right, in the Devil May Cry community whereby there's a sticker on the front of the Marvel vs. Capcom games on the box art, and it just goes featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series, and that's just a top meme in the community. People just post that like, as a lol. But if they did that, that meme would be immortalized. You could just have that on the Smash. That would be like on the invitation letter featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, that would actually be hype. As much as I don't want Dante, that would be a hype way to do it. Maybe like someone's going into a game store and picks up like a case of Smash, and it like says Smash Bros Ultimate, and then like it pans down, and that's written in the bottom corner, and you can see that it's actually like Dante's gloves or whatever. Does he have gloves on? Does he have like fingerless gloves? Why am I thinking that? Or does he just have his hands out?
It depends on the game, but yeah.
Yeah, and then you can see that he's holding it, and then like maybe the camera shot like turns to here. That would be a hype way to do it, man. And I know he's very highly requested, but nah, get me Cosmos in there over Dante any day. But again, that's a whole other conversation. So yeah, I think they've confirmed we'll definitely see one. That'll always be hype. I think the last few announcements, that's been the opener, hasn't it? Where it's just been like straight into Smash character reveal. Wasn't crazy about Steve. Not crazy about him because he's a pain in the ass to play against. Just campy, annoying character. Sephiroth was hype as can possibly be, but yeah. We will see. We will see. Okay. I think you'll be pleased to hear like that's me done. That's me done basically. Like any final thoughts from people?
No, I think we covered everything, really, haven't we?
I think,
Pretty much.
I think we
yeah,
covered a lot. Yeah, sorry, go on, man.
as I say, the only thing I think I've missed out is I want to see some hardware stuff from Sony, such as expandable hard drives, maybe a USB functionality to play PS5 games straight from the USB, because you can do that with 4, but you can't do that with 5 games at the moment. Something like that, maybe,
Okay.
because I feel like the accessory part for both Sony and Microsoft is still a bit bare bones. You know, you've got fancy controllers and camera, I think you've got, but you haven't got much major things. And I don't know, obviously, if they're going to do something with VR, maybe a new VR generation that hooks in.
I think I did see. I saw a tweet recently. Someone saying about how they were happy that Sony was not abandoning VR. So something must have been said. Something must have been said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean, they
like.
could easily.
Sorry, go on.
I say they could easily make another headset, you know, and be like, this is specifically for this generation for both Microsoft and Sony, for that matter, and
Yeah,
just say, you know, with the ray tracing that we can now take advantage of and all that stuff,
yeah,
they could do it again, because it's not dead yet. I mean, Half Life Alex, you know, really propelled it forwards and kept it alive.
yeah. As much as people raged at first that that was the case, but I just feel
Yeah,
like, in terms of just being an FPS, like Half Life made its mark, so absolutely, try something different, and like you say, it's done well again. So just
mm.
on that quickly, I feel like, and I don't know whether this will be an issue or not, but obviously the only memory in these machines is solid state. Is that right? It's just solid state memory in both of them, isn't it?
I think it's solid state, but then it's some other
There's a bit.
fancier technology that's even better than solid
Okay.
state.
The only thing that I'm thinking is that with you could kind of like downgrade the experience if you put stuff on an external hard drive which isn't solid state. Essentially you'll be playing the games and all of the kind of, I guess, like the buzzwords and the faster loading is obviously one of the big buzzes, the quick resume on Xbox and stuff like that, stuff that's obviously you've got the extra RAM and stuff like that, but stuff that a solid state drive like largely helps with. If you're putting it onto a hard drive which isn't a fast hard drive, you're then getting such a lesser experience, I guess. And it's, I guess that's a tough place to be in because you want the functionality to be there, but you also don't want to be like, oh, enjoy your 3 minute load times depending on your hard drive. Yeah, and I guess people who I say clued up enough, but people who understand that would understand this is the reason why this is like this. Um, but people I think would get a bit peeved with it anyway. But right, it's getting quite late. Um, did anyone want to shout out any socials? Obviously, Jordi, you've in terms of what you've got going on socials, it's certainly a lot more than us guys. But did you want to just do like a bit of a shout out? Where can people find you? The Xbox page. You rattle those off.
Yeah, so just at Xbox Fans Official on Instagram for
Nice.
me.
Yeah, nice. Don't ask him for free games because that's all he gets. Oh, I just love it on Facebook. It would just be like, here's some messages. Yeah, chappers, you'll have to share some of the posts you get in this Discord so Matt can see them. He's just going
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
can you give us a free game, mate? And it's just like no prior conversation, just open with that. It's like, right, okay. But
Crazy.
yeah, chappers, do you want to put anything out there in terms of socials, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube under the handle DevilDrinksTea, which is obviously a reference to my immense fandom of Dante and the Devil May Cry series.
Yep.
Yeah, I stream on Twitch every now and then. I upload videos to YouTube on the regular, and yeah.
All good. And in terms of for me, it's BiffCole81 basically everywhere. I need to look at this apart from YouTube, which is where I put most of my stuff. So you should probably sort that out. Where it is just Cole81, CUL81. I should probably look at changing that at some point. But yeah, I have got a Twitch, but I've been doing YouTube more just because my Elgato's being a pain in the arse. And it's easier. I've had to put like a custom RP, whatever it is, one of those in, and that's just easier for me to do through YouTube anyway. So yeah, you can find me there. Most people watching this will probably know that already once we've kind of posted it up and put it out there. But like, are we just gonna say? We'll just stop recording and then we can do bits and pieces afterwards. But if you've made it this far, it has been lengthy. Then thanks very much. You know, give us guys a follow. We are looking to make this more of a regular thing. Don't really have any kind of schedule in place for it just yet, but I'd imagine we may as well. Let's certainly commit to a post E3 one, and we'll see kind of what we predicted came true, what surprises there were. You know, because let's face it, we could get another hour quite comfortably off of what he's just shown, and obviously,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I'm certainly going to be a hyped up mess unless none of that stuff is shown, in which case I'll just be a regular mess. But yeah, okay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to stop it there, and we'll hopefully catch some of you soon. Bye.
Bye.